Queen's Park Rangers 0, Bolton Wanderers 0. Let's talk about the match. I was there today. Let's talk through how the match went. Let's talk through the lineup. Let's talk about the pluses. Let's talk about any negatives, any positives, any negatives. Let's get into it. A frustrating day, I think it's fair to say, for QPR fans. Fair play to Bolton. They got their 0-0 away day. A great point for them on the road, I would say. And we go again at Blackburn. But let's get into the game. Let's talk about the lineup straight away. First up, so lineup came out. Obviously, we have been forced into a few changes. So Piers Charles stays in goal, and Bengay at right back. Jimmy Dunn, Jake Clark-Sall to the centre backs. Keely Adamson comes in at left back because Boy Kemper's injured, and I'm assuming Dennis Serkin isn't quite match fit yet to play and start. Plus, Keely Adamson did great when he came on at Portsmouth, so realistically deserved the start. Central midfield, we carried on with Harvey Vale and Ronnie Edwards. Ronnie Edwards clearly still being favoured over Jonathan Varane, which is very interesting. And then we have Poku and Sato on the wings. Ilias Chair playing at number 10, and Richard Kone came in for Romain Barrel. So different striker up front. Kone gets his start at home. So interesting. Then the bench is looking strong. I mean, I've got to say, when I saw the bench, I was like, okay, there's a few people here that must be ahead of what people were saying. So Tariq Lamptey on the bench. I didn't think he was going to be fit till September, but he's back on the bench. Nico Madsen is back on the bench, which is great to see. As I said, Varane was on the bench. Alfie Lloyd was on the bench. Dennis Serkin was on the bench. Again, I didn't think he would be fit yet, but he's on the bench. And Romain Barrel, obviously, on the bench as well. So great strength to come on. But I think it's fair to say Rangers fans there were pretty confident, and rightly so after last week. Why not? They were hoping for a big performance. First home game of the season. It was a complete sellout. Sun was shining. Loftus Road was looking great. Pitch looks amazing. And after last week, what we did at Portsmouth, everyone, I think, was there in high hopes. And the way the team played last week, I looked at that team sheet and I was very happy with it. There's been rumours about Kone this week potentially going to Burnley. I don't know how true that is. I've just seen that knocking about. If that's possible, I'm surprised he played. So that would lead me to believe that he's probably not going. I would have thought if there was any chance of him going, then Burrell would have got the start over him today. But anyway, let's get into the match. We kick off, and I'm sure Bolton fans wouldn't mind me saying it was all Rangers in the first half. One-way traffic, pretty much, without any real cutting edge. We created a few chances, a few shots, but most of them were like fairly straightforward ones for the keeper. I've got the stats here. I'm actually surprised by the possession stats. I thought we had a lot more possession than that. But in the first half, 8 shots, 6 on target. And it was all going along quite smoothly. We were keeping the ball beautifully. There were a few murmurs of fans around me, like getting frustrated about the ball going backwards and not, and this thing of attack. Do you know what? After last year, seeing us at home in particular, holding onto the ball, knocking it around the back, and just working it from side to side, and then being incisive going forward. I'm very, very happy seeing that. Seeing QPR players comfortable on the ball and not looking frightened to have the ball is such a pleasure. And it feels like a long time since we've had a team that do that. It seemed that, from my perspective, it seemed that away teams came to Loftus Road and did that. And sometimes we almost look like the away team. We gave up way too much possession. This is all in my opinion. So for us to have possession, I think is great. And then, I mean, the big chance came. I don't know how many minutes. It was probably, about 30 minutes. Kone cleaned through. I thought he took a touch a bit too far to the right, which gave the defender a bit of a chance to get that challenge in. And, you know, keeper makes a good. I was at the other end, but the kid looks like the keeper makes a good save. But you know, should he be scoring that? I think so. You know, if that goal goes in, the game could be completely different. Obviously, these are all if, buts, and maybes. The goal didn't go in. It's still early enough. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time left in the game to score some goals. But it was a shame that didn't go in. But get through to half time. Bolton had one shot in the first half, none on target. We had 2 big chances, 3 corners to their 1. Like I say, it was pretty one-way traffic in the first half without us being massively dangerous. Obviously, like I say, the Kone chance was a huge chance. We also had one other chance that I can't quite think of. We must have had another big chance in the first half. But anyway, Bolton hold out and we go in at 0-0. Now, I want to talk about Pierce Charles as well. I want to talk about how another thing that just seems different from last year is how we beat the press. Bolton weren't pressing that hard today because, they're away from home. They were playing quite deep, I thought. But that ability of Pierce Charles to ping it over to Mbenge and Adamson in that first half, it's just great. It's just a different dynamic that this team has got, and due to his incredible distribution. And, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that develops going forward into the rest of the season, particularly once Lamptey and Sirkin get into the team as well. Those guys, well, I'll talk a bit more about them in the second half. So anyway, in at half time, and I've got to talk about Rangers. I don't know if this is throughout the ground, right? This isn't about the team or anything. This is just about the experience, the Loftus Road experience in itself. Whose decision was it to start serving Carlsberg in cans, right? I queued with Dulcie. Dulcie wanted a meat pie. I was there with Dulcie and Charlie today. Charlie had gone off and sorted himself out with a pint somewhere else. Dulcie wanted a meat pie. So I queued up for the whole of half-time, just watching the guys behind the counter opening cans of Carlsberg and pouring it by hand into a plastic cup. And, some people were like ordering 5 pints, 6 pints, which is fine, which they're totally within their rights to do. Of course they are. But the queue, just literally watching them struggling to fill these pints, it just took forever. I don't know who's made the decision to go from that. We used to just have plastic Carlsberg bottles. So it was like, I'll have 3 beers. There you go. You're off. You're out of the queue. Anyway, that is a gripe, but I think that really needs sorting because there were people getting seriously pissed off in those queues, which is quite interesting. I'd love to know what the experience is for the rest of the stadium. Is everyone struggling at the old vendor stalls, or am I just being a moaning old git? Anyway, we got the meat pie. We missed the first 5 minutes of the second half, but nothing too bad, and seemingly nothing happened in that 5 minutes. So let's get into the second half. More chances for Rangers. I'm going to try and remember the best of them. There was definitely a cross from Mbenge where Kone flicked on. This was just before the 60th minute, so I think it was Kone's last involvement. We had quite a few corners in the second half. Yeah, we had 6 corners in the second half. So Mbenge gone down the right, crossed it in, Kone little flick, but it looked pretty straightforward for the keeper. He just tipped it over. The big chance for me was Harvey Vale had a great chance, a header, which he somehow just managed to put in exactly where the keeper wanted it, basically straight into his hands. I'm sure he'll probably be a bit disappointed and thinking maybe he could have done better with that. There was definitely one corner that Jimmy Dunn would probably want back again. I thought it was right on his head and somehow he completely missed it. And you could see his reaction as he ran back to the halfway line. He was gutted. So that was definitely a good chance. There were a couple of penalty shouts, certainly one for Paul Smith and one for Ilias Chair. I had a decent view of both of them. I don't think either of them were penalties, to be fair, even though I was up screaming for both. I don't think, in hindsight, either of them were penalties. On 60 minutes, Stefan made 4 changes, so 4 subs all in one go. Burrell on for Kone. Lamptey on for Mbenge, Sirkin on for Adamson, and it was, I'm going to try and remember who else went off. Was it Poku went off for? I will remember in a minute. I can't remember. Hold on, actually, I can tell you. Hold on a second. I should know that. For Madsen, sorry, Nico Madsen made his return. So Ronnie Hubbard stayed in midfield. He played alongside Nico Madsen. Chair stayed at number 10. Harvey Vale moved out to the wing. And Lamptey and Sirkin, let's talk about that. I thought Sirkin in particular looks like an absolute engine down the left-hand side. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with him this season. He looks like a proper quality player. Lamptey showed flashes, I thought, of being really good. He still looks like he needs a bit more match fitness, I would say. But he looks quality, definitely. And like that right-hand side link-up looks like it's going to be quite exciting. And like I say, the left-hand side as well. They look like really strong fullbacks if we can keep them fit. And that's the big if, isn't it? Can we keep them fit? I didn't think Ramon Burrell didn't do much when he came on. He didn't really have a chance. Ilias Chair had another good game, I thought. But what do people think about what formation we should be playing at home? Should we be playing Kone and Burrell up front? Should we be in like more of a 4-4-2 formation at home? Or does that not work? Does Chair have to play every game? Do we build the team around Chair? There's a lot to talk about. Should Paul Smith play more at home, or should he play away? What do we think about that? I'm a big Paul Smith fan. I'd love to see him play it. But this is all, we've only played 2 games. So, what am I, we've played 2 games. We're unbeaten. We're on 4 points. We go away to Blackburn next Saturday. If we somehow get a win there or even a draw, it's a fantastic start to the season, one we'd have all taken. And yes, there were grumblings today about the players not being positive enough. But you know what? I love it. I think I'd much rather see players confident on the ball. And I don't think that's something we've seen a lot from Rangers teams over the last 2-3 years. I think they've looked a little bit kind of haphazard. I think having that goalkeeper confidence is huge. And I think the defence looked great. I think Jimmy Dunn and Jake Clark-Salter are a great combo, with Ronnie Edwards to fill in there if need be. Again, another massive positive. Jake Clark-Salter playing 90 minutes of football. I don't think he played 90 minutes at all last season. He was always seemed to be being brought off on 60 or 70 minutes. So whether that's a turnaround for him, I don't know. But it was great to be back at Loftus Road. Obviously not the result we wanted. We wanted to get a win. But, we lose crazy games at Loftus Road. And, I'm not saying we could and would have lost that game in a previous time. But I've seen us lose those games. I've seen us dominate and then let a goal in just through carelessness. And there might have been one time today where I thought, oh my God, maybe it was right at the end where they hooked that ball over and the guy kind of stuck a leg out. But other than that, I didn't really feel too troubled today. Bolton weren't playing massively expansive. I think it's probably fair to say they fancied a point and they got their point. So fair play to them. But and obviously a massive good luck to Bolton for the rest of the season as well. We move on to Blackburn. I will be there. I'm looking forward to getting up there next Saturday for another away day. As always, thanks for watching. Please drop me a comment, drop me a like. If you could subscribe as well, that'd be fantastic. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on today's game. Bolton fans and QPR fans, I want to hear from everyone. And I will see you all after the next game.